Mark Tatum, Deputy Commissioner and COO of the National Basketball Association.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you all.
Dr. Richard Lapchick, thanks for being with us here on R&R on Sports.
Thank you for having me.
Civil rights icon, Dr. Edwards, how are you today?
I'm doing a heck of a lot better than I deserve, I'll tell you that.
Sports commentator, Scoop Jackson.
Good to be back on with you all.
Ian Griffey Jr., how are you today, sir?
I'm good. How about you guys?
It's R&R on Sports.
R&R on Sports. R&R on Sports. R&R on R&R.
Hello and welcome to R&R on Sports. I'm Howard Robertson.
And I'm the most amazing, freshest to death, the most absolutely fantastic brother you've ever met in your life. And I am Larry Robinson. What's up, Unc? How you doing, brother?
Somebody, that's why people don't like you.
What does that mean?
Because you talk about yourself like that.
Well,
first of all, anybody that talks about, not saying that you did,
what's
but
that?
It talks about, anybody that talks about themselves in the third person.
Oh, yeah. I'm speaking in fourth person.
Oh, you jumped right over the
Yeah, I'm having the third, man. I'm telling you, it's like a triple entendre.
Screws, man. What's going on?
Man, it's all good, man. In the midst of watching this amazing NBA playoff season.
Well, yes.
But outside of the injuries. But, man.
The games are good.
Man, the games are phenomenal.
The quality of the ball being played
Absolutely.
is outstanding. And nobody can take issue with that.
Not at all. Not at all. Some amazing
And I
ball.
know everybody's going to be second guessing, well, shoulda, woulda, coulda, shoulda, in terms of that. But given the information that they had at the time, I think they made the best decision.
I still think they came back too early, and I think that's the reason why they're experiencing so many
injuries.
injuries.
Came back too early? You think? Oh, you can't think they started the season.
Started the season way too early. I think it started the season way too early, and I think that's why we're experiencing so many injuries. Literally, man. Now we're down, Harden down, Kyrie down. You have, your boy struggling, Donovan Mitchell struggling. You had Jamal Murray that I think really affected their series. And I think you're just seeing it, AD. It just goes on and on and on. And I think it's because those guys had 71, days between the final game of the NBA season and the start of the new season, from the bubble to the beginning of the season. And I just think that was too short of a time.
Well, I don't think they should have to go back and live that over and over, but we're going to get back to that. So I said this is R&R on Sports, and you might ask, what does R&R in R&R on Sports stand for?
Rest and release?
Well, how about relax and repeat?
Relax
if you want
and repeat.
More R&R, subscribe and check out
Rest
the
and relaxation?
That too.
Robertson and Robinson, or
That
Robinson
too.
and Robertson?
All of that.
Oh, yeah?
Let me finish my little
I like the alliteration.
commercial here.
Well, do your alliteration.
Check out the archives at Kazukian.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to check out all the favorite Kazukian shows where you can hear Larry talking about himself.
I love myself better than I love myself. Step back and kiss myself.
Something about Louisville.
Man, don't be hating on my hometown, brother. Don't hate on the hometown, brother. Hey, man, it's Louisville. Get that right.
Louisville.
It's what is it?
Phonetically, it's
Ebonics.
Louisville.
No, it's Louisville, and it's Ebonics. What's up, Uncle
Howard? They got a bunch of Ebonics in Louisville.
Oh,
right?
no, man. We say over.
Ebony.
Around there. Around there. Over. Over. Her. All of that. That's all Louisville. Straight Louisville and St. Louis.
St. Louis talks like that,
Oh, man,
too?
absolutely. Did you see Nelly? It's getting hot in here.
You're listening to R&R on Sports, and we appreciate it. We'll be back for more. Don't you go anywhere. We just getting started. You are about to be in for quite something when we come back after this.
Hey, this is Dr. J.
This is Shaq Adocious.
Yo, what's up? This is Ice Cube.
And you're listening to a little R&R. R&R on sports.
Riffin' on jazz.
But she was a sheriff's deputy.
Where?
In Detroit.
In Detroit. Oh, my God. You can't be no punk for that.
And ended up playing a flute.
Riffin' on jazz. On the Kazookian Network. Kazookian!
Welcome to another edition of Fly on the Wall. At the tender age of 40, Vince Carter is now the oldest active player in the NBA. Recently, he had a meeting about his future with a league commissioner. R&R on Sports was there, and now you become a fly on the wall.
Vince, I'm Geraldine Gomez, but everybody calls me G-Mama, and I'm the commissioner of the OBL. So nice to meet you.
Good to meet you too, Gerald. I mean, G-Mama. What in the world is the OBL?
It's the OBL, as in OH, as in Over the Hill Basketball League. I'm shocked that you're not familiar with us because we are that necessary next level of basketball for players of advanced age like yourself.
Hold on, Granny. Ain't nothing about my game over the hill. You got me messed up, Grandmama.
That's G-Mama, Mr. Carter, and please do not underestimate the O-League's financial wherewithal to make you a most lucrative offer and help secure your future. There aren't many coaching jobs right after the NBA for colored coaches.
What?
I meant coaches of color. I brought along our league MVP for you to meet, although I'm sure you've heard of the great JoJo Bright.
You mean NBA Hall of Famer JoJo White, right?
No. I mean JoJo Bright. JoJo White's game was all right, but baby, JoJo Bright's game is all right, uptight, and out of sight. Don't look now, but here he comes.
You mean that old dude coming this way in those tight shorts, long socks, 1962 Chucks, and is that a walker?
Don't eyeball me, rookie. You belong to me now. Here, go wash my car and bring me back a lobster dinner.
We haven't signed him yet, JoJo.
Oh, never mind.
Man, you look like you come off the bench for the Happy Trails nursing home team.
Rook, you must not know about me. I'm the MVP.
Vince, did I tell you about our TV contract with OSBN?
Never heard of it, but I bet the O stands for old, right?
Well, coincidentally, it is the Old School Basketball Network.
I'm not interested in the OBL, the OSBN, you or Kunta Kinte over there. I'm out of here.
That's it. Boy, I gotta learn you some respect. Meet me on that court over there.
Man, I ain't fooling with you today. Man, you see I'm rocking these $1,000 Ferragamo shoes. Man.
I'm about to open up a $1,000 can of whoop-ass on your hind part.
JoJo, don't forget your walker.
I don't need no walker for this punk. Oh! Geraldine, I fell and I can't get up. Bring me that walker over there so I can go learn this boy some respect.
Keeping it real, right, and funky.
People who do the general civil rights movement will say it starts with Brown versus Du Bois, which is in the mid-50s, and you don't get the Civil Rights Act or the Voting Rights Act until 10 years later.
Funky politics on the Kazookian Network.
Kazookian!
Welcome back to R&R on Sports.
49-17-10.
What?
49-17-10. 49-17-10. Slim Reaper, Easy Money showed us that he the boy. He the dude. He the cat. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to give up is LeBron ready to give up the mantle as the best player in the league?
Jeremy, what is he talking about? Who is he talking about? Who are you talking
Kevin
about?
Durant,
Kevin
brother.
Durant, KD. Isn't he hurt too? No, he's the last one standing.
He's the last one
Kyrie
standing.
Is hurt.
He pulled him up. He put the whole team on his back in his backpack and said, "Let me show y'all."
Harden?
Man, James Harden got a hamstring pull. You know, he's got a hamstring issue.
Oh.
As they say in the hood, hamstring. His hamstring is messed up. So I'm just serious. I mean, seriously, man, watching Kevin Durant do what he does, he makes it look so easy.
Okay, but let's talk about this whole notion of the playoffs being ruined. That,
you don't think they've been ruined?
No, I don't.
As my grandmama say, ruined.
Not
they ain't
ruined.
been ruined. They've
not
been ruined.
yet, anyway.
They've been ruined.
So Chris Paul has COVID.
Wait a minute, hold on. Wait a minute. Let's not even take Chris Paul out of this. But think about it. We missing Mike Conley.
Okay.
We missing Kawhi. We missing all these other. Now,
well, now why you got to take Chris Paul out of it? He's having the best.
No, but I'm saying,
he's ever had.
But that's not an injury. That's not an injury. He just somehow he got infected with COVID. So
but he's not going to be playing.
But let's take that out because I don't think that's the falls under this whole thing around the NBA season being run. It's being run because the players came back. You got Joel Embiid now who's playing with a meniscus tear. I mean, this is going to have long-term ramifications on the league. It's going to have a deleterious effect. We don't have any idea, which I love, who's going to be in the finals, but mainly it's because the injuries. You don't know who's going to be injured because they all ended up injured. And I mean, once again, I think the problem is I know that the NBA had to make their money, but I'm still saying, man, this is going to damage the league. How many players will not come back?
How do you attribute that to whatever percentage of the season that they played, okay?
They just missed 10 games. They played a whole season
minus 10 games.
Minus 10 games in a shortened amount of time, in a truncated amount of time, and the time to get the rest to come back to play that season out of the bubble.
What about the people who say, well, hey, you know what? It was bound to happen. It was destined to happen.
It was destined to happen?
Destined to happen. People get hurt all the time. It just so happens.
I think the statistics show that
in the playoffs and these guys got hurt.
I think it's at a higher level. I just think it's a higher level. You keep trying to add in Chris Paul. Don't add Chris Paul in this conversation no damn more.
Why not?
Because it's not a part of this conversation. We're talking about injuries.
It's a part of my conversation.
Chris
Paul in there. I don't think there's anything damn thing you can do about it.
You run the second. I mean, you sit in the second
you want
seat
people
on
to
this
hit
show.
Some furniture moving? Is that where you going?
Sit in the second seat on this show. Play your role.
Is that where you
playoff
going?
P?
Furniture moving?
Playoff. Playoff P. Now, pandemic P. You pandemic P today. Play your role, baby. Play your role. Don't be trying to do nothing outside your skill set.
Nah, I think it's going to be interesting to see. I think it's going to be the last one standing. Let's see what they do.
Man, listen,
Let's see what they do.
You know, it's amazing that how much injuries. You know, they always say the best ability is availability. And, you know, you looking at Kyrie, Kyrie, and then you're looking at Kyrie, Kawhi and Kyrie, who are literally hurting. And I'm looking at Kyrie, and Kyrie has this kid ever played a whole season? I mean, seriously, since Duke, I don't know if Kyrie has ever completed an 82-game season. Fact checkers, can y'all find out for us?
He hasn't.
Never play. I mean, once again,
shaking in there.
I mean, once again, I'm wondering about Kevin Durant. I don't think Kevin Durant has ever played a whole season. I don't know if James Harden has ever played 82 games. I think it's a rare feat. But then when you truncate their time and you doing things like 3 games in 5 days, you're doing these heavy lifting types of things when these guys, they're putting so much stress on their bodies. I just don't know if we can do this. I don't know if we can literally have a full NBA season and truly understand, based on talent, who the champions are.
Is the season too long? 82 games too long?
I think 82 games is way too long.
I do too.
And I think they need more rest. So
this year you're saying it was 72 games, not 82 games.
Right.
And there was only a brief recuperative time between or downtime between seasons.
Mm-hmm. But look how the injuries has affected the season, though.
Absolutely.
Because with Anthony Davis, here you are, you had the defending champions.
When do they have a chance to heal?
Right, exactly. Look at Miami Heat. Miami Heat put out in the first round. Look at all the issues that Jimmy Butler had.
Lakers put out in the first round.
I mean,
First
it's just a first time in LeBron's history that he's lost in the first round of the playoffs. When he make the playoffs, he make it beyond that.
Yeah. And Harden and KD have indeed in the past played an 82-game season.
I'm surprised.
Schedule.
I'm surprised. I really am, because KD is as fragile as they come.
But when and who is going to have the conversation with Adam Silver and the NBA about shortening the season?
You know who's having a conversation with Adam Silver now? Don't really know.
Who?
Disney and TNT. They saying, look here, homie, we paying you all these $1 billion. I don't care if y'all have to roll them out on wheelchairs and actually have kickstands by the ankles. We gon' play some NBA. And I think that's what it was all about.
Be problematic. That could be a huge problem. But
who you liking?
I think they need to have some serious conversation about that. I mean, there's certain people that are looking, certain teams that are looking very, very, and the Suns are looking so good and explosive and whatnot, with or without Chris Paul. Chris Paul is great, but the Suns are very, very strong. And of course, in the East,
I love
the Nets are still the Nets.
I don't think the Nets will make it, but I think that because of the injuries, I think they got a better chance than they had before. I think with Philadelphia, without Joel Embiid, I think Milwaukee. I just don't think Budenholzer's a good coach.
If Nets
don't think he's a good coach.
It will be, in my opinion, a lack of leadership.
Well, I think it's an issue with daggone Milwaukee Bucks, and I have to agree with the folks over at TNT, Barkley and those guys, that they just play a stupid brand of basketball. I mean, hot damn. I mean, you got a 6'8" dude checking you, and you had Brooke Lopez being checked by Forbes. Was it Forbes? No, it wasn't Forbes. It was who was it? It was Shamet. It was Shamet in the post. And literally, you're not taking him to the paint. You have Giannis shooting jump shots when you got a 6'8" guy checking him. I mean, good Lord, you got a 7'9" wingspan. You can dunk the ball without even jumping. I just don't understand it, H.
Is that something that's coachable? No, I mean, don't you take?
That's why I think
Budenholzer take somebody to the hole that can't.
Budenholzer is just the man that needs to be dismantled in Milwaukee. That whole staff needs to be dismantled. It's
interesting, and our guest is very, very interesting today. He is an author of a new book that's out. That's a fantastic new book that you're going to hear more about. It's called From Hang Time to Prime Time. That's just the first part of the title. We've got the author, who's a noted journalist. I'm going to tell you who it is when we come back. Stay tuned for our interview here on R&R on Sports. We'll be back after this.
Saturday.
Black Nerd Power.
I love games, board games, comics, beautiful things that portray black girls as soft and whimsical and cotton candy flowers. And so that is what I bring to the show, as well as cuss words for these raggedy when they need them.
Oh my goodness.
Such as this raggedy that we getting ready to introduce you to right now.
Oh my
This red
goodness.
fox looking, this bald head, confident talking about Richard Douglas Jones.
My goodness, this is the worst intro I've ever had in my life, ladies and gentlemen. Black Nerd Power on the Kadzukian Network.
Welcome back to R&R on Sports. Back on the Kadzukian Network, and we are thrilled to have with us noted journalist and new author of a book called From Hang Time to Prime Time: Business, Entertainment, and the Birth of the Modern Day NBA. Welcome to R&R on Sports, Mr. Pete Croatto.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely, man. So, Pete, right off the top, tell us why this book was important.
Oh, wow. That's a good question. For me as a basketball fan, I felt it was really important because I had never really read anything like this. I'd read plenty of books about, about the NBA, about the ABA or individual teams in the 70s and 80s, like the Celtics and the Lakers. But I never really read a book about how the NBA got to become the NBA, this big, massive, cultural and entertainment conglomerate. So I wanted to write a book that if I were browsing in a library at a bookstore and I picked it up, I'd be like, holy cow, I want to read this book because it explains how the NBA got to be where it is today. Mm-hmm. And, it's funny. I've read, you can see them behind me here, a ton of basketball books and sports books, but, and a lot of great books have always referenced the NBA's dark ages, or the NBA, or mentioned that the finals were on tape delay. And I really wanted to find out more about how the NBA got from that point to the point where we are now, where games are on everywhere. It's the players are major league celebrities, and I wanted to tell that story beyond just the whole Michael Jordan, Larry and Magic, David Stern narrative. So so I wrote this book. It was a book that I wanted to read myself.
How long did it take in terms of the background and the research for you to get everything together to begin to write? How long a process was it?
Well, let's see. The idea for the book, I guess the embryonic idea came after I wrote a piece on Marvin Gaye's national anthem for Grantland, ESPN's old pop culture.
Now I saw one of the things that you said. And
by the dawn,
please.
Just like it.
Okay. You talked about as soon as he opened his mouth, turning Francis Scott Key's stodgy, jingoistic dirge into baby making music. I thought that was phenomenal. Talk about what you feel that performance alone did. What was the significance?
Oh, it was everything because it did two things. First, it was a tacit admission from the NBA that it wasn't going to follow baseball and the NFL / college football's script. It was going to do its own thing. And that meant admitting that, hey, you know what? We have black men on the court. We have fans that are not like Ma and Pa America, folks who look like me, just middle-aged white guys. Mm-hmm. It was a tacit admission that the NBA was going to go its own way. And it also was the first sign that the NBA was going to be about entertainment. It was going to be about it was going to be about having a good time. So while, the NFL was going to trot out, I don't know, some opera singer to sing the national anthem, or Major League Baseball was going to maybe play it close to the vest in terms of who was going to I'm sorry, not close to the vest. Major League Baseball was going to, bring out Robert Merrill and all the, opera singers, classical artists. Exactly. The NBA was going to do something different. It was going to be about fun. And that anthem started everything. To me, the NBA's history in terms of its popularity, in terms of its cultural significance, is basically divided. The Marvin Gaye's national anthem is that line in the sand. There's before the anthem and afterwards. Now, and if you look at everything.
Do you agree that that wasn't intentional? They had no idea what they were going to get, right?
No idea.
Okay.
No idea. There was the Lakers had somewhat of an idea because Marvin Gaye actually practiced the anthem the day before.
Okay.
And the anthem was, depending on who you talk to, some people thought it was long and rambling and not really going anywhere. Others thought it was brilliant, but it was different. So the Lakers knew that it was going to be different. It wasn't going to be the typical, in and out anthem that you've heard 1,000 times. But what Marvin did that day in Los Angeles was no one expected it. No one, they may have had a hint of it, but no one had an idea that it was going to be what has become an iconic rendition.
Absolutely. You know who couldn't stand it? My daddy.
Really?
Oh, man. I remember he did not like that.
So you actually remember exactly where you were.
I remember exactly when it happened. I was watching the game with my dad.
Listen, this is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with novelist, Mr. Pete Croatto. So, Pete, where were you when that anthem was broadcast throughout the world?
Where was I? I was probably playing outside of my backyard in Aberdeen, New Jersey. I was 5 years old.
Okay.
So
okay.
I wasn't a basketball fan. Like, believe it or not, like I became a basketball fan like in 1990, 1991. Until before then, I was a baseball guy. I love baseball. But in 1983, like I was not a sports fan. Sports were not on my radar. I was probably fighting with my younger brother or, playing in the sandbox in the backyard. So it wasn't on my radar.
So how did you get to that moment? Because that was a pivotal moment in the NBA as far as entertainment is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get to that and then say, this is that moment that the NBA decided to go its own way?
That's a great question. And I think it has to. I think I'm
full of them, man. I'm full of them.
Hey, no, this is great. Look,
No, man, I'm just messing with you, Pete. Go ahead, man.
No, I've done a lot of interviews, and you'd be amazed how bad some of the questions can be. So it's great to get some good ones. It's funny. Whenever I'm a basketball fan. I'm an NBA fan, but I'm also a bigger fan of the history. Like I love trying to figure out what happened before I arrived. Like I love the current day NBA. Like I loved watching Kevin Durant's performance last night. It was great. Mm-hmm. I love watching Giannis, play the game. I don't like watching him chuck up 3-pointers. No. But I'm a fan. But I love trying to understand what things were before I arrived. So like so when I was a basketball fan in 1990, when I became a basketball fan, like I was right there in the middle of Jordan and Barkley and all the guys that were on the Dream Team. Like that, I was in the middle of that, and I wanted to know more. And I wanted to know more about what happened before. So, and the same thing happened with baseball. Like I was around with Mike Schmidt was big and Ken Griffey, but I want to know what happened before then. And the best thing about sports is that there's so much literature and there's so much stuff you can go back to. Right. And being a sports nerd, I went back. I think a lot of us are the same way. We want to know what happened before. We're fascinated about what happened before the present day. So so the anthem was something I just kind of stumbled onto, like and YouTube made it so easy to kind of go back and see what all the hubbub was that was written about back in the day. The fun part about being a fan is that, I don't know if you guys can can speak to this, but it's so much fun to go back because like we understand. I think sports fans know what's happening as right now. Right. Like it's covered to death. It's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, wherever. But it's really the real joy is just to go back and see what happened before you arrived, because you learn so much, and you also gain a deeper appreciation for what you're seeing now.
Absolutely. Great segue into the next series of questions. Question of which there will be a series of answers. You're exactly right. Younger people feel like it began and in the world. Sun rose.
Come on, man. Ask the question.
Them.
Can you ask the question? Can you ask the question, please? Come on, we ain't got much time. It's ticking down.
I'm fine. Look, there's no shot clock there, guys. Take your time. We're good.
Younger people think that it all began with them or during their time. So if you had to pick 5 out of the book, if you had to pick 5 seminal events or moments that shaped basketball, the NBA as we know it today, what would they be?
Wow. So before I answer this question, I'm getting like cold sweats back to like taking oral exams in like high school and college.
But this is your thing. This is your thesis.
I love this thing. Now, do you want me to go back in the history of the NBA or just go with
pick out 5 seminal
5 moments? 5 moments.
Okay. All right. 5 moments. Okay.
And you're going to do
I'm going to go with Marvin's.
We got a couple of minutes in this segment, so go ahead. And we'll come
Marvin's
back.
anthem is 1.
Okay.
I'm going to say the McDonald's Open in 1987 is 2 because that expanded the international game. So that's another one. That's 2. 3, I'm going to go with the ABA NBA merger, which was absolutely huge. 4, I'm going to go with the drafting of Moses Malone because that began the high school.
Daryl Willoughby.
Willoughby and Malone. I mean, I go with Moses because he was such a great player, and he was like, as far as I know, he was the first high profile guy. And he was Willoughby. Yeah, he's a fascinating case too. That's 4, right?
Right.
5, and you know what? With 5, I'm going to go with Curtis Harris, who runs the great Twitter feed, Pro Basketball History. He'll enjoy this. The merger of the NBL and the BAA back in 1946, I believe, which formed the NBA, formed the NBA that we know now.
Well, hold on.
So,
I really want you to unpack that because that's some stuff that I never heard of. Would you?
My knowledge on this is, Curtis and other historians, basketball historians, will be better versed in this than I am. But there were 2 leagues. There's the NBL and the BAA. They were rival leagues, and then they merged, and that formed the NBA back in, I think, either 46 or 47.
Okay.
So
and you talk about stodgy and stuck up like the version of the national anthem. The NBA was the same way.
Oh, absolutely.
ABA brought Showtime to professional basketball.
We got to get out and pay a couple bills, but we're going to come back with more Pete Croatto, and we're going to talk about the importance of Michael Jordan to the development of the NBA, and we're going to look at that through a serious microscope. So listen, stay right there. We'll be right back with more R&R on Sports and the wonderful one, Larry Robinson, if I do say so myself. So you stay right there. We'll be right back.
I bet.
R&R on Sports.
I was trying out with the Portland Trail Blazers. Thought I made the team. 2 o'clock in the morning, I get a phone call in my hotel, so I know that's not good.
Not at 2 o'clock in the morning, man.
And, he was cool about it. I mean, obviously they liked me and wanted to keep me, but tell me what flight I'm on so I can get back home.
Good. I can get out of here.
So I can get out of here.
It's R&R on Sports.
Welcome back to R&R on Sports. We are thrilled to have with us Pete Croatto, journalist and author of From Hang Time to Prime Time, Business, Entertainment, and the Birth of the Modern NBA.
Man, I'm telling you, this is a serious tome. I mean, just a great book. And definitely, if you dig NBA history, definitely go out and buy the book. Go ahead.
And entertainment history, too, because professional sports as we know it today is a crafted entity. I mean, a lot of work went into making it prime time in terms of that. Wouldn't you say so, Pete?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that was David Stern's, purpose as a commissioner, was all about making the NBA into an entertainment league, into Disney. And he was all about that. And I mean, it's the book I think does a really good job of outlining and breaking that down. He was masterful at that. He was just a masterful marketer.
Well, you mentioned about the business aspects of the NBA, but one of the greatest business deals ever was the deal that the brothers out of St. Louis made to can you unpack that a little bit and talk about the significance of that business deal as it relates to all sports deals in history?
Oh man, I mean, I think this isn't mentioned in the book. It's mentioned in a few other books, including Loose Balls, Terry Pluto's Great Oral History of the ABA.
Right.
But the Silva brothers owned the Spirits of St. Louis in the ABA. And as a condition of them being, as a part of their settlement to not be in the NBA, they took a deal which basically, if I remember correctly, I don't know the statistics, you guys can probably fill me in on this, but it basically gave them a cut of the TV revenue.
Yep.
Now, back in the 70s, the TV revenue was piddling.
Next to nothing.
Minuscule.
Next to nothing.
The 80s and the 90s, it got bigger and bigger, and the Silvas got more and more money to the point where I believe the NBA said, "Look, enough of this. Like, we're not paying any more. We're not giving you a big ass slice of this pie anymore.
Right.
You're going to settle." We settled for a nice amount of money, but that number just went up and up and up and up. And
absolutely,
it's just,
they settled like 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
It was something recent, and they made money for many, many years.
Crazy.
With like
Crazy
it was
money.
something like a 2%, 3% of the gross of the television revenue that the NBA. So imagine every single year, every collective bargaining agreement, every television deal, they got their money. And that went on up until a couple years ago. So that may have gone
went
on
on
for
for like
over
40 years.
Yeah, it went on for 40
Isn't that
years.
crazy?
Yeah.
They talk about, like, there's all this talk about, make sure you have good passive income. That is the ultimate passive income. That and Bobby Bonil's contract, where he gets paid, every year. Like, he gets for 25 years, like $2 million.
Was that Bobby Bonilla?
Yeah, Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah,
Passive
absolutely.
income at its best.
No, man.
Yeah,
Used to call him money while you sleep.
But that just shows you the importance of how the role that television played and still plays in the NBA.
Absolutely. And I remember the time when CBS, for example, had the NBA contract. You know what their main competition on a Sunday afternoon was for audience? Their main competition.
Nightly news.
ABC's. Wow. It wasn't. No, that's another thing. Professional basketball was not on prime time.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So I was thinking 11 o'clock
it was a
news.
Sunday afternoon game, kind of like football. Well, it was football in the wintertime. But their main competition was ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Absolutely. Rune's Revenge. That's what it was. He also put on Superstars, which was, you get all these TV movie people and superstar athletes have them.
Athletic competitions.
And that
Pete,
just shows you how,
Tell me, so we always talk about these pivotal moments, and we actually went through 5. But the NBA really took a turn. And when the announcement that Michael Jordan was Jesus in tennis shoes by Larry Bird, that to me was a seminal moment to say that the new guy had arrived.
Absolutely.
And so could you talk about how important Michael Jordan is to the contracts that are being received today in the NBA? Because you're talking about Steph Curry is going to make $50 million, in excess of $55 million a year with his new contract.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. Isn't that crazy? I mean, and to me, he's worth every penny. With Michael Jordan, it's really interesting, and I go into this in the book. I mean, look, he's if not the greatest, then one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Period. So his skills, he's just a champion and an amazing player. But what Michael Jordan did was that he proved that an NBA player could be marketable, that an NBA player could sell anything. If if you look at Michael Jordan, I think his basketball totals are amazing. The 60 points against the Celtics. But as a marketer, he proved that you could market basketball players as individuals. And you could have them you can have them market anything. But the most important thing with Michael Jordan is the shoes.
Right.
To have a signature shoe that early was almost unheard of.
Right.
Like, rookies were not getting signature shoes. But thanks to Michael Jordan's play, thanks to, Mikey's design of that shoe, which at the time was just incomprehensible, a black and a red shoe and with black. Oh my God.
Right.
The fact that he made that marketable was absolutely huge for the NBA, and on a couple fronts. One, it was great for the players because they were going to get more money. Rising tide lifts all boats. 2, it gave credence to David Stern's theory in marketing the players, that they were marketable, that they could reach middle America and beyond.
Right.
And it just completely revolutionized the shoe game. The shoe industry is a giant business. So yeah, Michael Jordan is probably the biggest business influence in NBA history.
Well,
I mean, by
was
far.
It Mike? Why
Hold
was
on,
it
hold on. I
Michael-
got a follow up to that because
Here we go.
You mentioned Michael Jordan. Well, you talk about Michael Jordan. I'd like to get your perspective on Vince Carter's impact on the game going global, based on the fact that there was a star now in Canada.
I never thought of Vince as that kind of star. To me, I think the international
Vince has got to be the greatest dunker in the history of the NBA.
Oh, he is. He is. He definitely is. I'm sorry, I'm making these comments as the lawn guys are outside. No, I mean Vince is. Vince to me is. See, I think Vince Carter's appeal isn't on the international scene.
Right.
I think the international resonance of the NBA really, you start to see it with Yao Ming, with Dirk, now it's Joel Embiid. To me, I don't know. I don't give Vince. I don't see Vince as part of that international onslaught.
You know why I disagree? Because
what
is when the dunk heard round the world when he jumped over the 7-footer's head. I think that became a very seminal moment for the NBA and its excitement, because I don't think anyone on any level had ever seen a man jump over a 7-footer and dunk the ball. And that's on the international scale, because that was part of.
Yeah, but that was Vince's brand, not the internet.
Well, I think you got to think that is when, but that is when. Well, very much so, because you had also the summer events that happened in Canada, and I'm telling you, these events that happened during Carnival were huge. I was there. Don't forget, I was managing the Flippers during that time, and we were a part of Vince's events in Canada. And I'm telling you, man, that person turned Canada into, all of Canada into a basketball hotbed. And as you can see, I think the effect you see from Steve Nash on to today, for a few years, you had the first 3 picks in the draft were from Canada. So I'm telling you, man, Vince Carter had a tremendous impact on basketball internationally, and because of it being in Canada, it was the first time that players had began to, people from outside of the NBA began to just totally buy in, little boys, little girls. And so you now have all of these stars that are now hailing from Canada and other places around the world internationally.
See, I see. I don't quite buy that, because Steve Nash was drafted in '96.
Okay.
He's part of the '96 draft. Vince came out in '98, and I will say this. I think if you go to Toronto and you go to Canada, he's definitely, I think Vince is definitely part of that of sports history there.
Okay.
But in terms of international resonance, I think the international part of it, the international impact, I think that happened long before Vince was on the scene. Those wheels were put in motion years before, like with Drazen Petrovic and Dirk.
I'm not saying that the international market was not at all accessible. Right. I just think Vince Carter was the kerosene to help really, because you didn't really hear about Steve Nash being out of Canada. You heard about him being out of Santa Clara. And then he became a part of the whole Canadian thing when Vince Carter made it okay to be out of Canada. So now you have all the other players that have started to come out of Canada and other places, because I think Yao Ming was a part of it, but I think Jeremy Lin was a bit of kerosene to the Asian market. So I think you got those different entities that happen, but I don't want to, hijack talking about that. But
no, I never thought of Vince having that influence. That's an interesting point. I never thought of Vince having that impact where where basketball has a Canadian identity. That's pretty interesting. I never thought of it that way. But I'm willing to bet that there are a ton of kids born like in the early 90s, you know, in the 90s, late aughts, who were like, got into basketball because of Vince. I mean, that to me is, I think that's a no-brainer for sure.
So, Pete, tell
Yeah.
our listeners the biggest benefit they're going to get from reading your book, and tell them how they can get it.
Oh, wow. The biggest benefit. I think, well, minimally, they'll be entertained. And I think whenever I read any book, the bottom line to me is I want to be entertained. I want to have because, you know, you're devoting your time to reading something, and that means a lot. So I do think minimally they'll be entertained. But the best part about this book to me is that that any NBA fan, especially young NBA fans, will have a better appreciation for what they're watching now, because they'll see just how much struggle and how much struggle the NBA went through in the 70s and even the 1980s to get to where it is today. They'll see how far the NBA has come to become this global force that it is today. The NBA fans will get a new appreciation, I think, for the game they watch now. I think that's the biggest benefit, is they'll get sort of a history lesson with this book, and they'll get an entertaining history lesson as well. The book can be bought at any brick and mortar online retailer. If you buy the book, I'm happy to send you a signed book plate. I'm easy to find on Twitter and other social media platforms. And you can also get autographed copies from Odyssey Bookstore in Ithaca, New York, which is where I'm living now. So yeah, it's very easy to find the book, and I'm happy to sign a copy or sign a book plate, whatever someone prefers.
Hold on, wait a minute. I got one question, Pete. You know,
yeah,
you're going out. You got a Pulitzer Prize for your last piece of literature that you've written.
I have a Pulitzer Prize. That's
you're walking to the middle of the court. Every hero has theme music. What's the theme music that you're getting? Because I know you're a music lover. You got the Stacks shirt on. I want to know what music is being played as you coming out to receive your lifetime flowers.
You know what? Because you guys are from Memphis. I'm wearing the shirt.
Right.
I'm representing.
Right.
Let me go with the abridged version of "Melting Pot" by Booker T and the MGs. Listen to you. Walk out to that, and I'll be very happy.
Oh my goodness!
I will be a happy man. The easy answer could be Green Onions, because everyone knows Green Onions.
Right.
But let me go with something that's a bit of a deeper cut.
If you've never visited the Stacks Museum here in Memphis, you should.
Oh, I want to go.
Come on down, Pete. Come on, Pete.
And then we can have you back on R&R on Sports.
I would love to. This is fun. This is a blast. I hope. I mean, I feel like I should have just stepped aside and let you guys do everything. You guys are hilarious.
Well, listen. Come on back, Pete. We got you, man. You part of the family now.
I'm happy. Whenever you guys want to have me on a babble incoherently about the NBA or music, you know where to find me. I'm around. I'm not going anywhere.
That's going to be sooner than you think. Pete Croatto, we appreciate you being here with us on R&R on Sports, and look forward to having you back. And we'll be back for more R&R on Sports right after this.
3. Entering into 40, I still had the same 30 and below confidence.
B.
In a bar, in your own home.
C.
You just feel unseen. And it's like, wait, what happened? Like 2 days ago, I was the
3BC. 3 Black Chicks on the Kadzukian Network.
Kadzukian!
Welcome back to more R&R on Sports as we head to the door. And this is a very special time for us. We normally do shout outs and pay our deference and respect to the memories of people who are no longer with us, and this time it is very, very close to home.
It's our family.
Because in our Kadzukian family we have been struck by death, unfortunately, and that is the passing of our brother Leon Gray, radio voice and radio professional of the highest order. and also did some other things too in the community here in Memphis, Tennessee. Originally from Memphis, was a very, very popular DJ down in Houston, and was a member of the Kazukian family and a co-host of Blues in the Basement.
Yeah, man. America, this is a tough one for us. I lost one of my big brothers. You got one of my big brothers here sitting next to me. And then my other one was a brother that I just called whenever I needed advice about the industry, how we was building a company. And it kills me because we're moving to new studios soon. And he ain't going to get to see it. It's tough for me. So, my brother Leon, man, we love you, man. And I look forward to seeing you on the other side, partner. And I almost start crying and stuff out. So let's
don't sit up there and do that. Don't sit up there and
stop.
do that.
The snot.
He would talk. Particularly in terms of that. But we Leon and I went way back and talked to each other. The kind of cat that you talk to, and when you didn't talk every day. We didn't talk every day, but when we did talk
forever.
Oh man, we made up for old and new. We solved all the problems of the world, and I'm gonna miss that. And
hey, Leon, have a glass of that old cheap Merlot. Up there with the big guy,
straight out of North Memphis. Our brother. Hey man, we're gonna miss you, but we're gonna dedicate stuff to you. The success and the new things that Kazukian's doing and will be doing, dedicated absolutely to you. So peace, and as he said, we'll see you on the other side.
Listen, everybody, thank you for listening to another episode of R&R on Sports. Come back next week, same bad time, same bad channel. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Later.
You've been listening to a little R&R on Sports, written and produced by Howard Robertson, Larry Robinson, recorded and mixed in Memphis, Tennessee.